Hello everybody, my name is X Factor. Today we're talking about one of the most controversial terms when it comes to gunplay in the Battlefield franchise since Battlefield 3, and that is suppression. And we've gone full circle in Battlefield 1. We're going to be talking about where it came from, the changes that it's gone through, where it went, and where it's at now. Because again, we've kind of gone full circle. So in Battlefield 3, whenever enemies were firing at you, not hitting you, you get this motion blur, all these visual side effects, but then your gun would have increased recoil and it'd have random bullet deviation. Your spread would be increased and it would be like you're shooting a paintball gun, just spraying and praying. It actually dictated a lot of gunfights. In the competitive world where I come from in Battlefield 3, some players would just aim to miss their first two shots, knowing that person couldn't return fire accurately for 5 to 6 seconds. Of course, it would fall off if you're behind cover, but if you're covering close to a wall, playing peekaboo, they could keep you suppressed infinitely. So it actually got buffed in Battlefield 3, and then it got nerfed again. It wasn't so bad at the end. Battlefield 4 comes around, and they kind of changed things up a little bit. When incoming fire would come in, depending on what type of weapon or caliber bullets being shot at you, it would dictate kind of how heavy the suppression was and how quickly it would kick in. But it would knock your optic off, whether it was an iron or optic. It actually knock you off and put you in this weird infinity loop pattern. And if you have a long-range optic, kind of like I have now, it'd be this long swooping pattern, and you can't hold your breath through it. It'd kind of minimize it, but it'd still be going on. Okay, so when Dice LA came around, once they got the server stable and they got the tick rate increased, they're working on that stuff, they actually tackled suppression. They kept all the visual stuff, and they got rid of the massive knockoff of your optic. They also changed what could suppress you visually and for how long. So LMGs had the most suppressive factor, and it'd take the least amount of bullets. SMGs and assault rifles would take more bullets depending on the range than LMGs. So LMGs were big visual suppressions. But they got rid of this. They got rid of that jerk. So what about Battlefield 1? Well, like I mentioned, we've gone full circle. I'm using my bolt-action sniper rifle with my long-range optic, and you can see that jerk of the crosshair, and of course, this little infinite loop type of design. You cannot hold your breath to get out of this. Now, true to Battlefield 4, the LMGs suppress you in the least amount of bullets, so they have a heavy suppressive factor to them. Now, there's some other stuff that goes on. Now, when you pay attention to some of these clips, when I become suppressed, my field of view actually decreases. I zoom in just a little bit on my screen when I'm in ADS on an iron with another weapon, or if I'm on hip fire. Now, that little area I was looking at right there is where some of the miniguns are placed on the Conquest. Those get a hold of you. They're even tougher than the LMGs. You'll be suppressed in a split second. And again, it does not matter what type of weapon you're using. It only matters what kind of weapon or weapons are being shot at you. The LMGs are the fastest to suppress you, and more than likely, the SMGs, based on our testing, take the most amount of shots fired. It has nothing to do with the shots that hit you. It has everything to do with the shots that are near misses. So pay attention to my screen. Right? We're all blurred out. We're black on the outside. And watch my screen flex right there. You're going to see it with some of the other weapons like this one right here. But you're actually changing that field of view. So there goes super dark, super zoomed in. The optic sway is going. And this is something you have to physically counter. Again, this is the part they got rid of in Battlefield 4. They made it so your optic sway is not kicking around. It's not jerking you off shot, but they do all this video stuff for you. So as you can see, these are near misses. They are not hits. It does not matter what weapon you have in your hands. It could be an SMG, a shotgun. It could be a bolt action or a sniper rifle. So here I have one of the SMGs here, and he's got one of the medic weapons, the semi-autos, and it's not as drastic with an SMG. More than likely, you're going to be up close and personal because that is their effective range, but it does have that jerk. Now he's got, Lazarus does, an SMG, but it still jerks you off target. So we've kind of gone full circle with suppression, coming all the way back to one of the original systems to Battlefield 4. The question is, what do you guys think about this? Were you happy with the way it was in Battlefield 4 at the end? Or do you kind of like to see this hybrid system that they're building back in with the optic sway? Remember, Battlefield 4 started off with optic sway, then they got rid of it. They kind of tweaked what can suppress you visually, how quickly it can happen, and that's where we stand now. But Battlefield 1, it's all about the visuals and the optic sway. Let me know what you guys think down below, because this is a big deal in Battlefield 4. It took a lot of the time for the developers to tweak it and finalize the system that we have today. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out, and let me know your thoughts down below.